So the Democrats know that there's about to be a huge red wave coming in November for the midterms, where they most likely will lose control of the House and the Senate in a big way, by the way, making them powerless. So to combat that, this week on Tuesday, Joe Biden went down to Georgia, not looking for a soul to steal, but to deliver a speech calling on Congress to overhaul the nation's election laws by passing the Democrats' Freedom to Vote Act. Don't let the name fool you. You see, Biden endorses the Democrat-driven changes to the Senate filibuster rule in order to push through federal voting rights legislation. Let me explain. Two things to break down: the voting bill and the filibuster bill. This was all happening this week. Follow along to understand what the hell is really going on. Okay, so the voting bill. While voters in each state are currently allowed to decide their state's election process, they make their own state laws. The main goal of the Democrats' bill is to federalize the election process, allowing Congress to decide election laws for all 50 states at once, like getting rid of voter ID laws, where U.S. citizens must show identification in order to cast a ballot in the American state they live in. Plus, the bill wants to expand those mail-in ballots, the make it rain ballots, allowing personal ballots to be put in the hands of multiple people before being counted. Chain of custody, my friends. And don't be surprised when they start saying that we should allow online internet voting, because that's safe and secure and can't be manipulated whatsoever, right? Yeah, they want to get as many illegal ballots casted as possible all over the country. There's no other way to describe it. The Democrats, they're framing the bill as a larger social justice fight. And they say that the new law is a response to Republican efforts to suppress black voters. That's right. That's what they're saying. They're saying by requiring IDs, it is racist against black people. Now, Republicans, they argue that the bill would weaken election integrity. By the way, a vast majority of African Americans support voter ID laws. Just saying. So why do Democrats think that people of color are not capable of getting an ID? Well, that sounds pretty racist if you ask me. And hey, Dems, how's that whole show your vaccine ID to eat here thing working out for you? Yeah, put in the HIPAA and hypocrisy. So, thank God the bill is not expected to pass. Remember, each state has 2 U.S. senators. So we have 100 senators, okay? 50 states, 2 per state, 100. Each of them gets 1 vote. So in order for this to pass and become law, Democrats need 60 votes to secure passage. And currently, there is a 50-50 split between Democrats and Republican senators. So it looks like the states will still be able to create their own election laws. Beautiful. Like it's been since the creation of this nation. Always remember it. Always remember, it is the states that created the federal government, not the other way around. Now, under Senate rules, legislation can only pass by a simple majority after debate has ended on a specific bill. However, in order for a certain bill to be presented for a vote, at least 60 senators need to vote in favor of ending the debate. That's the filibuster. This means that in order for the majority party to pass legislation with as much ease as possible, that party must have a supermajority. Now, in the Senate, this is at least 60 senators, 60 votes. Okay? Yeah, it is designed that way, so bills have to be debated and convincing in order to become federal law. In response to not being able to get the votes that they need to change election, well, the Dems want to change the rules with the filibuster bill. That's right, the filibuster bill. Biden is renewing calls to abolish the filibuster in the Senate. If that happens, Democrats would essentially be able to pass any legislation if they have all 50 Democrats on board. The tying vote goes to the vice president, by the way. And hey, switch the parties around. Say it's the Republicans who have been in this position. Now, with that being said, Biden went down to Atlanta, Georgia, to do something that he's not very good at, speaking, trying to persuade people to get on board with socialism. Socialism voting, I would call it. And how did he do this? He did this by calling them racists and Confederates. Here's some clips.
Jim Crow 2.0 is about two insidious things: voter suppression and election subversion.
Real quick, Jim Crow laws. In case you don't know, these were state and local laws that enforced racial segregation in the southern United States following the Civil War, created by the Democratic Party. He's projecting. Are they not teaching this in schools?
It's no longer about who gets to vote. It's about making it harder to vote. It's about who gets to count the vote and whether your vote counts at all. It's not hyperbole. This is a fact.
He's absolutely right. It is a fact. Only legal U.S. citizens of the age 18 and above should be allowed to vote in the district that they actually are a resident of, and by only casting one ballot per election. Do you disagree? Biden goes on, and as mentioned earlier, he knows he doesn't have the votes to take away power from the states in the election process. This former senator begins his promotion to remove power from the Senate in this clip.
That we must find a way to pass these voting rights bills. Debate them, vote, let the majority prevail. And if that bare minimum is blocked, we have no option but to change the Senate rules, including getting rid of the filibuster for this.
Damn, he just said it. By the way, Senate Democrats have used the filibuster hundreds of times in the last 2 years. Literally hundreds of times in the last 2 years. And what did Joe Biden think about removing the filibuster back when he was a senator and the Republicans were in the majority party in the Senate?
It is a fundamental power grab by the majority party, propelled by its extreme right and designed to change the reading of the Constitution, particularly as it relates to individual rights and property rights. It's nothing more or nothing less, and let me take a few moments to explain that. Folks who want to see this change want to eliminate one of the procedural mechanisms designed for the express purpose of guaranteeing individual rights, and they also, as a consequence, would undermine the protections of a minority point of view in the heat of majority excess.
Bravo. Finally, something I can agree with in regards to a statement made by Biden. But that was so long ago, right? People could change. That was some of the comments I saw on Twitter. Oh, people change. Oh, wait. What's this from 2021?
The president's preference is not to get rid of the filibuster. Look at what we've been able to accomplish in the last 6 weeks.
And now Biden flip-flops because his policies are so unpopular, he can't get the senators to vote for them, to include from his own party, like Democrat Senators Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona. So, does he support changing the Senate rules?
I support changing the Senate rules.
Back to Georgia.
Whichever way they need to be changed to prevent a minority of senators from blocking action on voting rights.
He sure does love coughing into his hands, doesn't he? And the people cheering in the background. Yes, yes, socialism, yes. Real quick. He says a minority of senators. If the Republicans have 50 votes and gain 2 more votes from Manchin and Sinema, as mentioned earlier, now that's 52 votes in opposition to Biden policy. Last time I checked, 52 of 100 is a majority. So no, that's a big lie. It's not a minority controlling. There is 52 senators saying, no, Joe, this will not fly. So now back to Joe Biden calling you a racist and a bigot if you want citizens to show ID to vote.
Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace?
Oh, okay. So wait, check this out. So Biden is now throwing out historical names designed for you to choose a tribe in order to divide us with guilt and or shame. Okay, I'll play this game. All right? Here, first two names that he mentions, MLK and George Wallace. Let me think about this one. Well, MLK Jr., Martin Luther King Jr., born Michael King Jr., by the way, was an American Baptist minister, an activist who became the most visible spokesman and the most visible leader in the American Civil Rights Movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. And he was a Republican. Look at that. Man, it's tough to find that stat, though. So it's either him or George Corley Wallace Jr. This was an American politician who served as the 45th governor of Alabama for 4 terms, a member of the Democratic Party, who is best remembered for his staunch segregationist political views. So, I have to choose. Well, I choose the Republican, MLK Jr. I like this game. Let's keep playing Biden's game of choose a tribe.
Do you want to be on the side of John Lewis or Bull Connor?
John Lewis or Bull Connor? Let me see. Okay, so John Robert Lewis was born near Troy, Alabama. Third of 10 children. His parents were sharecroppers, by the way, over there in Pike County. 1961, Lewis became one of the 13 original Freedom Riders. That's a group fighting against segregationists of the South, like Democrat George Wallace in the 1960s. Lewis voted against him and went for the Republican James Martin. By the way, John Lewis's name is on this bill. Interesting. So I either got to be a part of him or, that's right, Theophilus Eugene Bull Connor. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the names, but do you know who these people are? This was an American politician, served as Commissioner of Public Safety for the city of Birmingham, Alabama for more than 2 decades, a member of the Democratic Party who strongly opposed the civil rights movement in the 1960s. So, who do I vote for on this one? Well, I'm going to have to go with John Lewis, the guy who voted against Democrat George Wallace and Democrat Bull Connor. Let's do another round of Choose Your Tribe.
Do you want to be the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis? This is the moment to decide.
Ooh, tough one. I think Biden said Abraham Lincoln there, or Jefferson Davis. Who do I choose? Do I choose Abe Lincoln, the first Republican president who saved the Union and abolished the evil sin of slavery from the country? Who was then killed by a pro-slavery Democrat actor named John Wilkes Booth? Or do I choose Jefferson Davis, who served as the president of the Confederate States from 1861 to 1865? And as a member of the Democratic Party, he represented Mississippi United States Senate. Man, what a theme here. You catching on? Also, this guy was a staunch supporter of post-Civil War Democrat-passed Jim Crow separation laws and groups to enforce them, known as the KKK. Democrat ran. So, this one's a doozy. Joe Biden, but I'm going to have to choose. Yeah, once again, the Republican. Notice a trend, my friends? Yeah, Biden continued to scream, cough, and try to pit us against each other, all over not getting his way, or the way of whomever is pulling his strings. Obama. Right. 34 of the 50 United States have implemented election reforms like voter ID that protect legitimate voters and ensure that their votes are not diluted or negated by fraud or mistakes, to include Biden's home state of Delaware, by the way. Yeah. Why wasn't he over there in Delaware saying, "What are you doing, Delaware? How dare you? You're all racists." These states have made it easier to vote, but harder to cheat. And more laws are coming to other states this year. So what about that majority thing again, Joe Biden? And after hearing this speech, calling for more division and removing power from the U.S. Senate, bad news for Biden. Senator Kyrsten Sinema, as mentioned earlier, the Democrat from Arizona, well, she pretty much sunk any hope that the Biden administration had in getting a win and passing the Democrats' party's proposed voting and election security bills after she announced that she did not support making any changes to voting requirements needed for bills to pass in the United States Senate.
I will not support separate actions that worsen the underlying disease of division infecting our country. Eliminating the 60-vote threshold on a party line with the thinnest of possible majorities to pass these bills that I support will not guarantee that we prevent demagogues from winning office. Indeed, some who undermine the principles of democracy have already been elected. Rather, eliminating the 60-vote threshold will simply guarantee that we lose a critical tool that we need to safeguard our democracy from threats in the years to come. It is clear that the two parties' strategies are not working, not for either side, and especially not for the country.
Wow. She sounds like she knows the Dems will lose the Senate come November and doesn't want the other shoe on the other foot. Is that the explanation, the phrase? It also sounds like this Democrat is contemplating switching to be an independent. So, no federalizing our elections and no removing filibusters because you can't get the votes needed, all the while comparing bipartisan majority of senators to literal traitors. Joe Biden and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week. Man, what are your thoughts on it all? Type in those comments. Give us a like. Make sure to share this video and subscribe to the channel.